Hello, everyone. Let me clean because I feel like I'm a little blurry. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new week, new lesson of the week. I am having technical difficulties um, on Instagram, so you'll probably see me going back and forth trying to get on Instagram to go live, but I'm on YouTube, you guys. So, hello, all my YouTuber travelers. How are you guys doing this week? How did the week treat you? Um, yeah. If you need to go and run and get you a pen and paper, a notebook, so that we can get up on this journey. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know if Instagram is down, but it'll figure itself out. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But as you can see, I'm wearing my Spellman hoodie because, well, it's not really, I don't know what this part actually does other than, yeah. Anyway, but I'm wearing my little Spellman paraphernalia because it has been, 11 years since I graduated from Spellman. So just wanted to come on here and represent for the one time. So let's see. I'm going to get started in a little bit and hopefully yeah, I don't know what's going on with Instagram, but just like with all the other videos, I will be sure to post it on Instagram later from YouTube. So yeah, so let's get started. Let me make sure that this doesn't block. I need to tip this. I need like a stand or something, but this will work for now. So last week we talked about failure and accepting failure, being able to handle failure when it comes in or as it comes. So last week's homework was to choose an experience from last month that was a failure, or choose an experience of failure from last month and kind of reflect on it, try to figure out what the cause of that failure was. So if you guys were able to do that, I'm very interested in determining what, or finding out what those causes were. If you would like to on comment on what it was in the comments, or put it in the chat. Just talk about those experiences and what were those causes. I know for me personally, a lot of my quote unquote failures will come more so for like financial failures, or financial failures. But I know for me last month, it wasn't more of a failure than like a realization. So as you guys know, or if you don't know, my full-time job is an elementary school dean, and one of the issues I've been having at work was constantly having to do interventions and not necessarily being able to do any preventative measures, or like I didn't feel like I was really helping, because a lot of the times I'm just really in the trenches doing interventions, de-escalating or trying to de-escalate. And in the midst of de-escalating, I just found myself in situations where I'm either having hands being put on me, my life being threatened, and it was just very difficult. And I so with my job, maybe 2 times out of the year, 2 or 3, no, it's more like 4 times out of the year. There's like an observation or an evaluation that is done, well, more so of an observation. And it's just a time where you get to have a candid conversation with your boss, letting your boss know like where you need help in, like where you need help and where you don't need help. And now that I'm really thinking about it, I want to say maybe like she just official, like she like heard me and actually did something now. But I just felt very overwhelmed with my position. And this was back in like December, January when I like talked to her about um, like what was going on and how I felt and so on and so forth. And it wasn't until maybe last week, yeah, it was last week. It wasn't until last week where I had, she actually gave me help. So, what we were doing prior to um, what's going on now, and I'm going to tell you that, what we were doing prior to for ISS was students would just be with me for in school suspension. Um, and so with them being with me for in school suspension, every time there was a classroom that I needed to be in to provide an intervention or provide some kind of de-escalation or whatever the case may be, I would have to take those students with me. So it really what didn't give the feel of like in school suspension because they were constantly with me and it was more so them shadowing me everywhere I went. So my boss finally said, you know what, I'm going to get you some help. Um, I'm going to have somebody actually be in a classroom and sit in there with the students whenever you issue out ISS. Since she's done that, I've been able to get so much more done when it comes to like my other duties because not only am I in charge of discipline for the entire school, I'm in charge of truancy. I'm also in charge of making sure that we are like we have positive behavior supports, making sure that all students are tiered for either behavior or attendance or whatever the case may be. I'm in charge of doing threat assessments. I'm in charge of doing risk assessments and putting them into the system and like doing the investigations. I'm in charge of bullying investigations. So it really helped free up my time so I can really give my all in these investigations. I'm saying all of this to say that a failure that I felt like I had was not being more vocal about me needing help earlier. And I realized had I been more vocal about me needing help, that I would have received the help earlier on. But I also think that my boss went to a meeting where there were other individuals who were in my position, and literally everyone had help except for me. So I think that was a wake up call for her as well. But had I been more vocal in expressing that, I felt like maybe I would have received the help earlier on and I wouldn't have gotten to a place where I felt so drained and so stressed out. So that was my failure or my experience of failure that I went through last month. And so hopefully moving forward, not hopefully, my goal moving forward is to be more open and honest in expressing what my needs are and being adamant about it and not accepting no for an answer when it comes to my mental health, when it comes to my stress level, when it comes to me and just me, my overall health. So yeah, so I hope you guys were able to reflect on any failures that you faced last month, and maybe even take this time now to reflect on that failure. So I'm going to give you some time while I get things together for the lesson that we're about to do, and also see if Instagram is up and running. Because yeah. Yeah, Instagram is still not working, but so I hope you guys have plenty of time to reflect. And so now we're going to jump into our topic for the week. And so our topic for the week is adopting a positive self-talk. So hopefully we get some good stuff from this lesson, things that you can kind of take from this lesson and apply it into your everyday life. So yeah, let's get into this lesson. So um, the number one tip for adopting a positive self-talk is being aware of your negative self-talk. Just like with any, what is it? The first step to what is it, addiction? I mean, it's in a lot of different places like addiction, grief, but in everything, when you have a problem, the first thing is to admit that there is a problem, is to acknowledge that there is a problem. So just be aware of your negative self-talk. And not to say that you're going to get it every time, that you're going to recognize it every time, but if you do start recognizing, then that's a really true sign that you are overcoming something big. But being aware of your negative self-talk. So paying attention to the thoughts you have about yourself throughout the day. And I'm going to add more to that, to where it's not just thinking about the thoughts about yourself. It's also the thoughts that you have on others. Because oftentimes when you have negative thoughts of others, it's also because you kind of have those negative thoughts about the world in general, or within yourself. A lot of times when we're overly critical of other people, subconsciously we adopt those same thoughts to the point where it is difficult for us to move forward. And I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but it's raining like cats and dogs outside. And so, like, hopefully it doesn't interfere, and hopefully you can hear me very well. But I just wanted to throw that in there. But yes, so you want to be mindful of the thoughts that come through your mind, whether it is thoughts of yourself or thoughts of others, because you don't want to put yourself in a place where you're thinking negatively of yourself or other people, because then eventually the way that you think of other people, you're also going to think about yourself. So, or you're going to I wouldn't say not living your truth, but you're not going to be really forthcoming when it comes to certain things, because you have that negative or critical about other people. Like you have that mindset of being super critical of other people. So thinking about your negative thoughts that come through your mind, thinking about whether or not the thoughts that come through your mind are positive or if they're negative. And it's a very difficult thing to adopt, but there's this exercise that you can do where you're doing check-ins. And if you're anything like me, you think a lot, especially when you're either commuting to and from work. That's why sometimes I have to throw on some music, listen to a podcast or something, because sometimes my thoughts just keep going. And so you want to pinpoint any positive thoughts that you have. Those positive thoughts, you want to write them down. Those negative thoughts, you also want to write them down. Why? Because the only way that you're going to be aware of your negative self-talk is if you know what your negative self-talks are, and being able to dissect it, and being able to understand why you have those negative self-talks, or that negative self comments. So write them down so that you can be more aware of it. Awareness is key. The only way that you're going to overcome situations is if you are aware of the situation. You wouldn't know you have anything to overcome if you're not aware of them. So one of the first things is to be aware of your negative self-talk. Next, you want to challenge your negative self-talk. So this is the part where I was talking about being able to figure out why you have this negative self-talk. Is this negative self-talk actually true? Is it something that is is not true at all? So you want to challenge that self-talk. So for me personally, a lot of the time, so my negative self-talk, because my love language is words of affirmation. So when people say negative things about me, a lot of the times I internalize them. And I constantly think, oh, like this is who I am, or this is what it is because this is what this person has said. And that's not always the case. So sometimes I have like this, and I should say like more so like the past, because like now I don't really care what people have to say about me, and I don't internalize what other people's problems are when it comes to me. So like in the past, I should say, because, or preface, but in the past, I've had people call me different names, and I used to internalize those names. So let's go and dissect one of the names that I used to be, like I was called. So one of the names was being, well, it's not a name, but I was called selfish. So people used to see me as selfish because oftentimes I didn't want to do certain things for other people because it took too much away from me, like too much that I did not have, or whatever the case may be. And people will say that as selfish because, granted, I come from a culture, I come from a family where people give, and they give until they have nothing left to give, not even to them, to their self. And I know for me, I've always had the mindset of, well, I'm not going to give if I don't have enough to give. Like I'm always like, I always put myself in forefront because I'm important too. So if I have okay, maybe I shouldn't say two candy bars. Okay, maybe I shouldn't use candy bars because it's easy to it's easy to split a candy bar. But let's say I have $300 in my bank account right now, right? And somebody asks for like half of that. Well, will I give them half of the $300 that I have? Probably not, because like if it's in my account, there's a reason why it's there in my account. There's probably like bills I have to pay. There's reason, like there's everything I do, there's meaning to it. There's a reason for whatever I do. And so giving someone half of something that, like, half is too much. Like, let's just be honest, half is too much. You wouldn't go into a business deal or have somebody like partner with you or whatever the case may be, and just so that they can help you with your business, and be okay with them asking for half. Like, half is way too much. Like, how are you ever going to make sure that you're okay if half is always constantly being taken? Half of a dollar is 50 cents. Are you going to keep getting 50 cents for something you're working like hard for, that you're putting in the work, that they're not even really doing anything for? Like, no. And so, okay, I went into a whole tangent, but you want to challenge that negative self-talk. So challenging why people think I'm selfish. Is it because like I'm actually selfish, or is it because they can't get what they want from me? And so once you become aware of your negative self-talk, you can challenge it. So like I said, like, ask yourself if the thoughts is true. Replace the negative thoughts with the positive ones, or like, and if it in fact is true and you don't want it to be true, or whatever the case may be, then try to figure out how you can work towards whether or not, okay, so let's say patience. If somebody's telling you that you're very impatient and you want to work on your patience, then figure out ways that you can be patient, or figure out how you can build on that skill, because everything in life you're going to constantly learn. Life is, oh, you're always learning every day. So just always challenge yourself. Yeah, just always challenge yourself. Next, you want to use positive affirmations. So use positive affirmations to replace negative self-talk. Create a list of positive statements that you can repeat to yourself throughout the day. And then we've talked about this before, but even when you like being aware of your negative self-talk, you want to make a list of the negatives and you want to make a list of the positives, because if you make a list of the negatives, then you can challenge it. If you make a list of the positives, then guess what? Then that can now be part of your positive affirmations. So you want to make lists. I'm a big like a big proponent of lists. I write a list, like literally, like I write lists. That's all I do is to do lists. Like I write lists. That's how I operate. I'm literally this right now, because if you've been with me from the beginning, you know that I have a difficult time with sometimes staying on track, sometimes with staying on track, and see, now it's not coming because it's not on my list this time. But sometimes I have a difficult time with staying on track and also knowing what words to say, because sometimes I can get lost in my train of thought. So list is a big thing for me. But yes, you want to use those positive affirmations. You want to repeat them throughout the day. If you feel you have more time, if you feel like you lack time throughout the day to be able to say your positive affirmations, pick a habit. Pick like something that you do on a regular, not necessarily a habit, more of an activity. Attach it to something. Attach it to, like, maybe you like when you commute to and from work, you want to say your positive affirmations then. Maybe you can make it into a song. I look good. I look great. Okay. But maybe you want to be able, because guess what? I know for myself, I get pumped up like when I'm positive and I'm speaking, like thinking positively on my way to work, guess what? I feel I'll have more of a positive day. So you want to repeat those positive affirmations throughout the day for yourself. So saying things like I am capable, like I am worthy of love and respect, and I'm worthy of of grace. Just repeat these statements and to yourself whenever you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk. If you feel you have a negative self-talk that you like, your go-to negative self-talk, like, oh man, I'm nothing, or I'm so horrible. Have a positive affirmation to combat that quick. I'm horrible. No, you're not. You don't want to know how you're not horrible? Because bam, 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 bam. These are the things. And that's why it's important to write down what your negative self-talks are. So you can sit there and say, you know what? This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. And this is how I'm going to show you that it's wrong. Because I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, and I'm this. And that's why it's important. Write those negative affirmations, negative self-talks down, because you'll be able to see it in just something about seeing it and actually having a physical form of it. You can actually see it to actually tackle it. So make sure you're writing these things down, even if you need to. No, I'm not going to say record your negative self-talks, because you don't want to record yourself saying negative things about yourself, because you want to have the opposite. Now, if you want to record yourself saying the positive affirmations, do that. But write down your negative self-talks. After that, you want to practice gratitude, being grateful. Just focus on what you are grateful for in your life. Just there's so much to be grateful for. And I know sometimes and if you struggle with like understanding or figuring out what you can be grateful for, then this is exactly what you need to do. Because if you struggle with understanding what is good just in life in general, then you want to have like a list of things you're grateful for so that you can always look back on to get you out of that rut. Depression is real. Mental health issues are real. So you want to make sure that you're putting things in place to help you get through those times where you feel you have those negative self-talks, you have those negative that negative mindset. You want to put placeholders to get you to where you want to be or need to be to help pull you out of that depression, to pull you out of that rut. So focusing on things that you're grateful for in your life. And you can create a list. Maybe every day you write something new that you want to be grateful for. Oh, today I got discount 50% off on one of my favorite hobbies I like to do on these art supplies. Or I ordered food for the day, which I said I was going to do 2 weeks ago. So you want to write down like things that you're grateful for. And you want to write down what you're grateful for in ways where you can always look back and see that, okay, like I know right now I'm in the rut, but these are the things that I thought I knew that I was grateful for. And reading this, like it's giving me motivation to kind of get up out of the get out of that mindset. So focusing on the things that you're grateful for will help you like shift your focus away from the negative self-talk and towards more positivity. So right, like I said, like write down 3 things that you're grateful for each day. And they really don't have to be big. Like I remember, when was it, like 2016, 2017, I made a commitment to write down at least 1,000 things I'm grateful for the year. And like every day I would write multiple things that I would be great, like I'm grateful for. Like some days I some days I was more grateful than other days. Like some days I'll be able to write like 10 things I'm grateful for, whereas some like other days I was able to do like 2. And so that really helps, like 2 things. It helps get you out of that negative self-talk, but it also helps you stay mindful and in the moment. Because a lot of the times when we have a negative outlook on life, it's because we're thinking about the future and not thinking about how things, we're thinking about the future and how things may not look good for tomorrow or in 5 years. Or for instance, a lot of the times I'm a stickler for relationship type shows. So I love shows like Married at First Sight, Put a Ring on It, Love is Blind. And so I love love. So a lot of the times that you will hear constantly on there is, oh well, I don't want to be alone. I don't want, if I don't choose this, then I won't get this, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of the times they're looking too far ahead and thinking, oh, I'm not going to like I'm going to be alone, to the point where they're not even focusing on the here and now and figuring out like if this is what they really want. And so because they're thinking so far ahead, it's really hard for them to like stay positive. And so that's why it's really important to stay mindful and be in the moment, because that's what's going to help you with your positivity. Um, but yes, to make sure that you write down at least 3 things that you're grateful for each day, and then just take a few minutes a day. And sometimes it doesn't even take a few minutes. Sometimes it takes a second. Yesterday I saw myself admiring a cloud because the way that, ooh, matter of fact, I'm gonna just show it to you. Because the way that because I did take a picture, and as I was taking the picture, I said, you know what, I'm taking this picture right now, but how it's going to show up in this image is definitely how is not how I'm seeing it. And you'll probably be like, oh, okay. So I'm going to try to make sure I don't have anybody else in the picture. But Here is the image, and you could barely see, like, it's just, the picture is not doing it justice, but this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about being mindful. You want to be in the moment. Um, and that's why I find myself not taking a lot of pictures, because I feel like when I take pictures, it's taking me out of that moment and wanting to preserve it and thinking about the future of how I can have this for the future. But I did say I wanted to take more pictures this year, and I'm trying my best. But I do love to stay in the moment and being mindful. So yes, the next one, you want to surround yourself with positivity, and we're going to talk, like we're talking about it a little bit right now, but we're going to go more in depth about it next week. Surrounding yourself with positive people and positive environments. Positive environments. What do you mean by that? Well, you don't want to ever go into like a hostile environment where people are arguing back and forth, bickering. You don't want to be in an environment where you don't feel safe. You don't want to be you don't want to be in an environment where there's potential for harm to come, whether that's emotional harm, physical harm, mental harm, whatever the case may be. So you want to make sure that you're in positive spaces as well, around positive people, um, because being in a place where you don't feel safe is not good. So you want to make sure that you have like at least a handful of safe places for for yourself to go to, um, and just have that list. Um, and increase that list, because you want to experience the world. You don't want to be in this small little bubble, so you want to explore. You want to find different places that you can go, that you feel safe, that you know are positive environments. My positive environment is at somebody's restaurant. All right, so you want to also seek out people who support and encourage you, and spend time in places that make you feel happy and relaxed. So, and not unsafe. So, go to the spa. Um, Go get something to eat that at a restaurant that you enjoy, that has the food that you like. If you have like a best friend that you really enjoy their company, go to their house, invite them to your house. Like, do things that put you in a very positive mindset. You don't want, like, and I know this is very touchy for some people, but a lot of the times we want to, and I love my family. Like, I love my family hands down. But when it comes to positive environment, not every it's not always a positive environment all the time. It's not. There's a lot of arguing, and sometimes that's not the best place for positivity, and it kind of can leave room for negative self-talk. So if you know that your family does have a tendency to make a very safe place, not safe, or I'm gonna say not safe, but it doesn't give you that positive vibe, then you might want to limit your time um, in that environment, or in that particular environment. If you know that, okay, like in this particular environment it doesn't work, but if I take my family outside of this environment and we go like get something to eat, or if we go and we have this fun activity that we do together, or whatever the case may be, because I am a family oriented person, so I love doing things with my family. So but if if we're in a small little area, like, it's not, something's bound to happen. So you need to understand that, know that, and put placeholders in, like put things in place to where you are able to make your environment positive. Because not every time you can just say, you know what, this is not a positive environment, I'm just dipping out, because sometimes your environment can sometimes be like, I wouldn't say toxic, but sometimes it can be toxic, and it's really hard to pull yourself out of that environment when it's your everyday living situation. So just figuring out different ways to help overcome that toxicity so that it can be more of a positive environment, or incorporating more positive environments into your lifestyle to where it kind of helps you address that toxicity. Um, but yeah, so next week we're going to talk more in depth about surrounding yourself around more positive people. Um, Next, you want to also practice self care. So, in order to adopt a positive self talk, you have to have a positive mindset about yourself. You have to love yourself. And part of loving yourself and having that positive mindset on about yourself is taking care of yourself. So, if you're the type of person that struggles with taking care of yourself because you feel it's selfish, or you feel that finally Instagram works. I'm sorry. I've been trying to get on Instagram for like this whole time and it wasn't working. But finally on Instagram Live. Hi, travelers on Instagram. Welcome. We are talking about adopting positive self talk. We are at the tail end of the discussion, however, coming, but I will be posting this later where you will see the whole lesson. But yeah, so practicing a self care. So you want to take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. Engaging in activities that you enjoy and that make you feel good about yourself. Like I said earlier, going out to eat, trying out restaurants, or going to the spa, taking care of myself, taking a bath. Now I have these cool little steamers, like bath, they're supposed to be like bath bombs, but they're steamers that you can like hang in the shower. So if you don't have enough time to take a bath, then you can take the little steamer and put it in the shower and actually have like a shower bath bomb kind of situation. And so it has like the aromatherapy for your, like for your body, for your mental health and things like that. And so I'm very excited about that. I haven't tried it yet, but I do have them. Because right now I have the time, so I've just been taking baths. I took one yesterday. Um, but yeah, engaging in activities that you enjoy can help you kind of boost your self-esteem and promote positive self-talk when you're in the bathtub, or with if you're in the shower. If you need to go and start saying your positive affirmations there, like, oh, I'm the person who, I'm loyal, I'm a person who loves myself, I'm a wonderful person, I like, just speaking those positive things, speaking life into yourself is very important. So, yeah, just practicing self-care. I wonder, you guys can comment and let me know what are some things that you do for self-care, um, that you love to do, or if you are a person who struggles with self-care, let me know what, well, not let me know, just kind of have a discussion or talk about, because like what this is like a community. And so I just want you to let me know if you do have any issues with practicing self-care, like what parts may be difficult for you in actually doing the self-care. Is it time? Is it the energy? Is it the feeling of guilt? A lot of the times people feel guilty for taking care of themselves because they feel maybe it's a little selfish, or maybe they can be putting that energy into something else, especially if you have especially if you have children, especially young children. I know a lot of people, I have a lot of friends who do have little ones, and it is really difficult for them to take time to take care of themselves because they're a single parent, or even if they're not a single parent, it still takes a lot of energy from them to take care of their children, to take care of the household. So let me know what difficulties you might have or find in in practicing self-care for yourself. And maybe if you do struggle with it, and yeah, and so sometimes maybe having those bath bombs in, not the bath bombs, the shower bombs, that you can hang in the shower to kind of give you that feel, that spa feel, even though you may not have the time, um, or the energy to actually be able to fully do like a bath, or just so that you can kind of give yourself some self-care. I know some people who don't like taking baths, and I'm not talking about like bathing their skin. I'm talking about like actually sitting in the bathtub. A lot of people feel that it's like gross to sit in the bathtub. To me, I don't mind it, but I do take like a shower. Sometimes I take a shower before. Well, I always take a shower afterwards, to make sure that all of the dirt and everything is gone off my body, because like my body's literally soaking and all the dead skin is like coming off my body. And I love to see it, because it just makes me feel good. But yeah, so if you like putting, like if you like scents, if you like aroma, you can hang it in the shower, make yourself feel good, lighting candles. Mind you, I'm telling you everything that has to do with scents, because that's how I love smelling good. I love things to smell good. So that's where most of my advice is coming from. Um, Scents, eating, and being pampered. Um, but yeah, so yeah, sometimes I know it's difficult to make time to take care of yourself, but you have to take care of yourself, because guess what? Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to love you the way you love yourself. And so you have to make sure, or you have to show people how you want to be loved too. So practice that self care and talk positivity into yourself. Um, as well as being kind to yourself. So that's our next thing is being kind to yourself, treating yourself with kindness and compassion. Um, just giving yourself grace. I know a lot of the times we want people to give us grace whenever we're going through something, or if we are in a situation, or like a situation happens that we didn't mean to happen. We want people to give us grace. But a lot of the times we need to give ourselves grace. The grace that we're asking other people to give us, we need to give it to ourselves. And just being compassionate about, with yourself. Last week we talked about failure, and part of overcoming failure is to be compassionate, and just knowing that failure is a part of life, and you're not always going to be able to get everything the first time you try it. Sometimes you're going to fail. Sometimes you're going to fail more than once. And so you just have to give yourself that grace. Don't beat yourself up over mistakes and failures. Just continue to look at them as opportunities to learn and grow. Um, because that's all, like, that's what life is. Life is about learning and growing. So next thing about your positive self, adopting a positive self-talk, is setting realistic goals. So you want to set goals for yourself and celebrate small successes along the way. So you want to set realistic, and this that realistic is in there for a reason, because you want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up, like you're not setting yourself up for failure, like you don't want to say, I'm going to fly, like just with your body. You're setting yourself up for failure. There's no we're not capable of flying. You want to set goals that are realistic. Um, And so being able to set those realistic goals will help boost your confidence and promote positive self-talk. There was something, so I don't know how many people are on here that are from the Caribbean, but if you guys know anything about me, my mom is from the Caribbean. Well, both my parents are from the Caribbean. And my mom listens to this I don't know. I want to say I don't think he's a pastor. I think he's like more of a motivational speaker, who talks like about religion or whatever the case may be. But um, she was watching something about like Miles Monroe, and he mentioned something that kind of stuck out to me, where see, and this is why I can't just talk about things right off of the top of my head because I've been lost. I done lost what I was gonna say, but it's eventually gonna come back to me. But what did he say? This can help build confidence and promote positive self. That's what I was saying. See, and this is why I make my list because I remembering things. I have so many thoughts that go through my head constantly. Um, and see, and that is me giving myself compassion. I am. It's okay that I forgot what was my train of thought. But I really wanted to give you guys that example because it was a really good example though. Um, or it was a really good comment. But let me see if I can remember it. Um, okay, it's not coming. Maybe it's because I'm trying too hard to remember it. But yes, so those are the things that you can do to help adopt a positive self talk. So I'm going to go run through them really quick, just so that you guys can know exactly what we talked about. But being aware of your negative self talk, then challenging your negative self talk, using positive affirmations, and then practicing gratitude, surrounding yourself with positivity, practicing self care, being kind to yourself, and then setting realistic goals. Um, those are the key ways that you can set yourself up to really have a positive self talk. A lot of the times we have negativity everywhere. When you look in the news, when you're every day after school, there's always negativity somewhere. And so the best place to show up positively is showing up positively for yourself and really not allowing the negative things in this world to affect your mind to the point where affecting yourself in this world to the point where you are not necessarily being able to. I just lost my train of thought. I'm rambling, but I lost my train of thought. Somebody trying to come in and just mess my train of thought up. But yeah, so you want to just really adopt a positive self-talk. So I hope that helped everyone. We can have a discussion in here, to really talk about um, that negative self-talk, or negative. We can talk about the positive self-talks and um, what issues, what we can work on. So if you guys want to, we can have a chat. I know on Instagram came a little late and there's not much we can do, but on Instagram, because you guys kind of had like literally the tail end. But I don't know what was going on with Instagram. But YouTube, thank you guys for everyone rocking on with me. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'm going to post um, the homework for this week on Instagram. And that will be tomorrow. I'll post the homework on Instagram tomorrow. And then we'll go from there. And I'll see you guys next week. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys. Happy traveling.